Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show, featuring Steve and Karen Wilson, owners and innkeepers of the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. Hello, everyone. This is Lisa with Big Blend Radio. We recorded this episode yesterday, Monday, October 14th. And before we get started and air that, we have some excellent, amazing news. As you hear in the podcast, Steve and Karen Wilson from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast had gone 18 days without water. Well, last night, water started coming back at the inn, and they're super excited. They are still on a boil water warning, like most of Asheville and most of the regions affected with Hurricane Helene and Milton. But these are baby steps, and things are looking better. So take a listen. You'll hear that things are really not quite done at all, and there's still a lot of rescue relief work and rebuilding happening. But this is a positive step. So take a listen, enjoy, and also enjoy the music messages from musicians and bands, poetry and author readings that are all part of our Healing After Helene event, online event that we did. And again, all links are in the episode notes. Take care. Hey, everyone. We do our Adventures in Asheville podcast with Steve and Karen Wilson, who we call Mr. and Mrs. Wild, because of nature and music, but they own and run the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast in Asheville in the historic Montfort district. So Asheville, North Carolina. We do this podcast every first Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. However, to keep everyone up to date with what's going on in Western North Carolina, Asheville, and even beyond, because of Hurricane Helene and the relief efforts, we're going to be doing this podcast every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern time, except for when it's the first Tuesday, that will stay at 7 p.m. So we can keep everyone posted on what's going on, some of the recovery work, and also to let you know and to keep it in the forefront that this is an area, the Southeast. We're looking at Eastern Tennessee, Western North Carolina, Southern Georgia, parts of South Carolina, these areas, and Florida, the Big Bend region of Florida. Plus also think about those who went through Milton in Florida. There's a lot of destruction from the tornadoes. We want to keep this in the forefront. So as the political stuff happens on TV and take over the headlines, we want to make sure that we all do our part to keep this in the forefront, that it doesn't get lost. As holidays come, let's do what we can to help all the businesses involved as well. So first, we've got Steve and Karen here, and then their friend Jay Schultz, who's an amazing photographer, drone photographer, and who's doing a lot of photography right now for insurance adjusters and all of that work, which is really a difficult thing. I've done it when we went through wildfires. So it's really kind of hard on the soul to see. So first, Steve, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Karen, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. We're hanging in there.
I know. And you guys have a signal. And Jay, how are you doing? I believe you're up on a mountain, right? So you can have cell signal to do this.
Yeah, things are crazy around here right now, but we're doing one day at a time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, one day at a time. Steve, I want to know, every time we talk on the show, I always go, what's on tap? Do you have any beer left on tap for the end? I know you may not have customers, but were you your own customer?
A couple times. But we still got the wheat beer on tap. That's about it. We haven't been able to make any more beer because there's no running water still. So I guess I could use about a couple cases of bottled water, but
yeah, exactly.
We'll wait.
Probably wouldn't be a good idea.
We'll wait.
Yeah. So the water part,
if that's the only thing. That's the only thing holding you up from making beer. I'll bring you water.
Bring it on.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's not slow down the beer production.
Let's do a brew day.
What's important?
Well,
we need a brew day.
It is. I mean,
true.
It was sausage day the other day, and I was going, how are they going to make sausage? You have electricity though, right?
We do.
We have electricity. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jay's better off than we are. He's got water as well.
Yeah, Jay, start bottling, send it over. Well, this is the thing, we were looking at, I've seen footage, and Jay, please chime in on this because you've been all over, in the area, but we've seen footage that, there's huge trucks coming in with massive pipes, water pipes. So you're getting like a whole new infrastructure for Asheville, right? With water. So the pipes will be cleaner, greener, all that good stuff. So that's a good thing. But, where there is water, and I really want to stress this because I was talking to our friend Lizzie Hara, musician, and everyone, she was part of our Healing After Helene online music and book benefit. And I'm going to link that in the episode notes so you can go watch it, where musicians, authors, poets came together with special messages. We also had some experts. And we've got music in there, and we've got a playlist of all these musicians that came together for this benefit. And we're going to do this again next month. We want to keep that going. And all the links, well, there's so many links, for GoFundMe's, the Red Cross, all these different nonprofits doing amazing work that you can be part of. There's still volunteering, opportunities. I know even all the shelters and humane societies in the Southeast need help. And a lot of these animals are actually going across the country. I know San Diego, the Helen Woodward Animal Center there is a no-kill shelter. Best Friends up in Kanab, Utah, they're no-kill shelters, and you can stay tuned for tomorrow's podcast about this. But you can find shelters where you can adopt dogs or foster them until they get a home. So you can, there's all these different ways to be part of the recovery after Helene. So at the end of this conversation, you're going to hear messages from musicians and authors, poets, and Steve Schneikert with his Hollywood history, giving a shout out. So you'll hear a little bit of that online event, but please go watch that and share it around so people have these website links to be able to go and support the nonprofits and the people doing things. But getting water, one thing I learned from Lizzie, and you'll hear her, well, you actually won't hear her. Her music is in the playlist because she lost signal after we talked. She has a well, and she thought, oh, well, then electricity went out, so then she couldn't really use the well, but she's got ways to filter her water, which is fantastic. However, even if you are on well water, you need to boil your water right now. And that goes all over the place. Boil your water. Have you heard that, Karen, about boiling the water?
Yes. Yeah, I have heard that. There's still a boil advisory for most places, I believe.
But people are opening up still, too. There's also positive things like restaurants opening up. And
yeah, there are a few restaurants downtown Asheville that have now been able to get enough water to be able to do at least takeout. So slowly, one step at a time, things are slowly reopening.
And they're doing that kind of thing. So, they're working with a skeleton crew. This has affected employees. Some businesses may not even come back. So again, let's try and support the small businesses. If you can go online and buy gift cards, gift certificates, make reservations like for Steve and Karen's Inn, do it for the future because they're hoping November will, be back to business. Won't be as normal, right? But getting back to some kind of normalcy in November. So this is again why we're doing this. Jay, have you seen those big water pipes? Because they look massive, like huge.
Yeah, I've seen when they drove them in. They are huge. And then if you watch, it wasn't my drone footage, but I think the city of Asheville had a drone out there as they were starting to do the repairs on that massive pipe. And you look at the crane that's moving it. It looks like a little tinker toy next to that thing. So the depth and breadth of the damage that was done to the water in Asheville I don't think a lot of people really understand where that water comes from and how it gets to their faucet. But they're learning very quickly every day.
Yeah, this, when we talk about infrastructure, this kind of opens our eyes to what infrastructure means, right? It's more than a pothole in the road. Yeah. So, Jay, where have you traveled to? Because we've got some of your photos, which are just like eye-opening, right? And it's hard to see, but I want to keep, again, out in the forefront for everyone to understand how big this is. this is going to be a massive recovery, and it's going to take time even on those roads. But how has that been going around? Because I know you've been to Tennessee too, right? And throughout Western North Carolina.
Yeah, I traveled as far west as Cullowhee, and out towards Cashiers, and any place that has a decent sized creek running down through a cove next to a road. Either the creek swelled to the point where it washed the road out, or a tree or most of the time multiple trees will go down across these cove roads, and you just can't get up into these coves everywhere. And what I didn't realize is the same thing that is happening on the east side. Like right now, I'm out in Linville, out near Boone in that area, and the flooding again is something that I didn't expect to see out this way. But then the winds and all the water that softened up the roots of some of these trees. You can't go a half a mile down some of these back roads without seeing a tree that got cut up and moved off to the side of the road. So the fact that, some of the bigger main things that affect everybody is still going on, there's these pockets of communities that are just still completely cut off. And if they're not cut off, it's very difficult and treacherous to get to some of these places. And a lot of, you're coming in and out of Tennessee, I-26 near Irwin, Tennessee, is completely washed out. So they're, on both the eastbound and westbound side, the road is just fallen into the river, so you can't get up through there, which means that you can get off in Irwin, Tennessee, if you have a car, and get on at the next exit. But if you're driving a semi truck, you can't go down I-26 at all. And so having to reroute all of this transportation and logistics has been a nightmare for Western North Carolina.
Oh yeah, and Eastern Tennessee. I'm glad you brought up Irwin, because, wasn't it 5 dams that broke? And how do you? Yeah. That's insane. And with hospitals, with patients and staff having to be on a roof. I know people going through medical treatments during this time too. And that is another thing we've got to think of, is how do people get health care? And I was worried. I was like, well, what about people that need their medicine or something, and can't get to it? That's a mess. It's a real mess. So,
for me as a drone operator, the first week I didn't fly my drone. I flew it on the day of the flood. As you saw the waters coming up, I have pictures of the Pigeon River cresting in Canton. But as soon as that was over, and that was only a short flight, I grounded myself for the first week because there was so much aircraft in the area flying, like you said, medical supplies. People don't realize that insulin needs to be refrigerated. And so you can't just, put it on the back of UTV and take it up one of these cold roads. It needs to be refrigerated, and it needs to be dropped off directly to the person who needs it. So these flights bringing supplies in and taking people out of these areas that are still going to be cut off for a while. The aircraft in this area we wouldn't see the recovery efforts go as fast as we have without the military aircrafts and all the private helicopters and aircraft that are flying in and out of even small airports like the one in Boone. If you've ever been to Boone and seen the airport there, it's very, very small. I don't exactly know how to describe it, but 2 helicopters on that runway is pretty much full. But they had supplies out there, and they were running, helicopters in and out of there to get things out this way. So, all these pilots that have volunteered their time and their fuel to come out here and help us, I can't say enough good things about them.
Exactly. Boone is actually coming back pretty quickly, and it didn't look like it was going to happen. And there's a lot of recovery. I've been following what's going on at Lake Lure and Chimney Rock. It's like people, that story still just sticks with me, that the day after the flooding, some of the park staff went there, managed to climb up Chimney Rock and erect the American flag. there's these stories that are just, you just, the spirit, the human spirit, that used to be our band name,
right?
Human spirit that exists is there, mule teams, people rescuing each other. One thing I do want to give a touch out to Damascus, Virginia. A lot of these visitor bureaus, I know Boone was one, Hendersonville, North Carolina, they've taken their visitor bureau websites and put it where you can now see exactly what's going on, recovery, if you're still looking for people. I know right now, I was reading from a friend's post, out in the mountains, and her neighbor's looking for a cadaver dog. There's still this kind of real need. And Jay, have you seen that kind of thing too? We're still in that recovery zone of actually still rescuing, right? Because I know mules have been used, but we're still actually looking for people.
Yeah, I can't really speak too much to the whether we're still looking for people or not. I haven't kept up with that, but as far as using all of the resources possible, and it's interesting, as much technology as we have, for a guy like me who flies a drone and uses this, some cutting edge technology, we still have the old school way of doing things, and it works just fine. Western North Carolina still has those skill sets to, put together a bunch of donkeys and take them up the side of a mountain to get supplies to people.
Wait, was that a political comment? Just kidding. Just saying. We've got to have.
You're never going to hear any political comments coming out of this guy's mouth.
Nope.
Yeah, we'll do it.
And it's not the time.
It is after it airs, I know. Well, no, this is again, we're in that political time, and we want people to. I know. Really understand, like, yes, you can have your, politics and your drama of all of that and argue with each other, but actually what we really need to do is help, our community, our greater community of, Southeast. And so that's why we're doing this. We want people to understand, and we want support, whether it's sharing stuff on social media, donating, volunteering. There's always something we can do. We're doing this because this is what we are good at. This is our thing, just like Jay is good at doing drone photography. So he's out there doing that. And at the same time, you're having to take photos for insurance purposes, right? For people.
Oh yeah. Lots of trees down on top of houses. Wind damage, was pretty severe with 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, as it passed over Asheville. So there's a lot of damage to homes in the area, and I'm going to be busy, for the next 3 days, for sure, till my daughter's wedding this weekend. But man, it's breaking my heart to have to leave Western North Carolina but at the same time for such a joyous event. This is a time when we're still, in every day we get up and we place up our shoes and we say, what needs to be done? That's still in the mode that we're in. And we're 12 days away from 15 days away from this incident, and it's just incredible the amount of work that needs to be done. But when you look around to the people to your left and right, and you don't know their story, initially maybe because you just met them, and they got a huge smile on their face, the joy that everybody has from giving of themselves is what fuels our recovery. It's not the anger. It's not a pointing fingers. It's not, sadness that drives these things. It's the joy that we have to be able to do things for other people. Yesterday, we went to Marshall and fed all the crews that were going downtown Marshall to clean up. We must have fed,
that's awesome.
I don't know, 5,000 people or something like that. At any given time, there was 450 to 500 people downtown, and they were switching out regularly. But what I didn't realize, as I left that day, I was getting ready to head out, and I was saying goodbye to one of the ladies that kind of was in charge, and I found out that she had a restaurant downtown, and it was gone. But the entire time that we were there, she just smiled and.
Wait, Jay, we're losing you there a bit. Jay? Yeah, no, you went away, but he is on top of a mountain. He's getting ready to beam up, but hopefully he'll come back here. Yeah, just jump in if you're there again, Jay. But that is the sad thing is there's breweries. I've seen stories about breweries helping each other. Some breweries going away completely. The River Arts District, Karen, I know you were making cookies. Were those for the workers like what Jay was talking about, baking cookies?
Yeah, we were trying to do whatever we could do.
Are you there, Karen?
Hello?
Uh-oh. Hello? All right.
I think we lost Karen now.
No, Karen's back. I think she's back. Oh, gosh.
Okay.
I know. This is the
Can you hear
reality.
me?
So, yeah. Okay. Jay's back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's cutting in and out.
Yeah. But, okay, Jake, you want to tell us about the
Yeah.
lady with the restaurant?
All right. So, so the lady with the restaurant, she had a restaurant downtown Marshall. The joke that she tells is that she didn't have to worry about cleaning anything out because the building's completely gone.
Oh, that's sad.
Lord.
But what an attitude, right?
I mean, she just always had a smile on her face. She's doing what she loves doing. She's cooking for people and keeping them fed. And, they're not just putting together, ham and bologna sandwiches. The food that they're cooking is delicious. And, there's nothing better than when you go out and work for, 6 hours doing manual labor and you come back and you got actual real food to eat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And made with love, care. Like what you guys do at the bed
Absolutely.
and breakfast. And Karen's cookies, everybody, I'm telling you, you got to stay there just for cookies, and then Steve's beer. I mean, this is the season for the Dirty Godiva beer. I just want to say, we want to do that. We're talking about, the insurance things and everything. Steve, can you give everyone an update on how the inn is so that guests know that, you did have trees fall down, but those are, they're not inside the inn, right? So can you give everyone an update on the building?
God.
There's about 3 trees. I think we already told everybody that fell on the side of the inn. They had to take out, I think, like 5 trees because some of them were coming uprooted. It's a big mess in the front yard because the guys who cut the trees, they still haven't come back and cleaned up their mess. But then again, they haven't come back for their money either. So
they'll be back.
But yeah, they'll be back. But the inside of the inn is it's all right. Like I said, we just need some water to get some dishes washed and everything. We still want to get downstairs completely cleaned up for ourselves so we can open up all the rooms because we're staying in one of the rooms upstairs right now just until we can get it checked out and make sure
everything cleaned out. Yep.
Make it any kind
so
of
it's a cleanup process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can be your own guest, but water is a big deal. Water is everything.
Yeah, water and Wi-Fi. Yeah, the guests need their Wi-Fi too so they can watch their TV. I don't know why they want to watch TV out here in Asheville for, but
you got so much to do. And the River Arts District, can anyone update us on that? Because we've seen that, yes, it got flooded. It's devastating. But from what I've seen too, if you go to riverartsdistrict.com, there's also an organization, Treats, Treats. I said that and no dog is going to come running, right? But treats.org, that website is fantastic because you can go and see who needs help. Individual artists to the studios, to the galleries. Some have been completely washed away, but you can go in and support those individuals and those businesses, which I think is an amazing. Asheville seems to have so many different organizations coming together to clean up in the River Arts District. I saw the one sign. I just photographed that with you guys in July while we were staying with you because we couldn't cross over because of a hurricane. And we were driving across the country, but that it's gone. But it looks like the River Arts District is not going to just, not come back. That they're adamant of coming back from what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Rebuilding. That's what I've seen as well. Oh,
awesome. Jay, have you seen that too with the Arts District?
Yeah, Yeah, I've not had a chance to fly my drone down there yet, but I do plan on getting that done here in the next couple of days. The photographs that I'm taking are not necessarily to document just the devastation. I'm juxtaposing the devastation with the beauty, which is a great thing for me with a drone, because I can kind of take that macro look at everything and show, hey, this is why this is so devastating. It's because this thing here that is gone now had a backdrop like this, with the mountains and the rivers and the hiking trails and things that we have here in Western North Carolina. And so that's what I'm trying to do with the images that I create. But I know that for me, the sad thing is that a lot of those buildings that were completely destroyed in the River Arts District were built in the early 1900s, late 1800s, and they're no longer. There's some that weathered the storm, but River Arts District is definitely going to come back, but it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be as historic as it was. It's going to be completely different. But it's going to be new, and Asheville always does some really cool, funky things, especially when it comes to if you put artists at the forefront of it. And so I'm excited to see what the future holds for the River Arts District, to be honest with you.
It'll be interesting for sure.
There's going to be a lot of color. I think murals are coming, because there's a lot of vibrancy, a lot of public art in Asheville, So that's the thing, for travelers. I was reading the website for Boone and how they're coming back, and they were talking about, please tread lightly and have patience. It's like when we, started to come out in COVID, people were working on skeleton crews in their businesses. They've lost things. Everyone's emotions are running rampant, and because it's a lot of grief out there because of loss of loved ones, loss of homes, businesses, and just loss of what the landscape was like, right? So it's hard. I know what Jay's going through. It's hard. And Steve and Karen, as travelers, go and support if you can, because one way you could do it is be part of the tourism, like that rebuilding effort by supporting businesses directly. Tourism funds everything. Tourism is one of the most important when it's done well, and it is about honoring and respecting art places, history, those kinds of things, the nature. Tourism is really important. Though that money and the tax generated from tourism goes into programs that help schools, that, they create business for other businesses like tree cutters and AC people, for air conditioning people. So they help small businesses as well. So, as we go towards Thanksgiving and small business days and all of that stuff, help the tourism if you can. Whatever you can do to help the small businesses in these regions. The small business, that's part of the American spirit, is our small businesses. And so whatever we can do directly, everybody's worried about what nonprofits. Well, the Red Cross has done great. We have a link up on the page for the Healing After Helene that takes you to a site, Charity Navigator, tells you a percentage of, are these people doing what they need to do? And they have a list for national nonprofits that are out there helping. There are a lot of churches and faith groups that are really doing things. I remember in Julian, when we went through the wildfires, man, the Mennonites came back and built that town back up. I mean, just incredible. Even firefighters were paying for their meals, and the restaurant owners were trying to give them that. We're paying and tipping people. I mean, that's our American spirit, right? So if we can give to those businesses directly, that in turn helps the community prosper again. So Karen, that's something you wanted to make sure people know about, right? For the inn and all your partners that you've brought on the shows over the last couple of years, right? All those, we've had wineries, we've had breweries, photography tours, all of these different people, distilleries. Boy, do we need you now.
Right.
So all of these people, right? So if you are supported,
right.
then you support them and vice versa, right? So that's something we
Absolutely.
can do. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is. And one of the newest funds, I think it's a good thing, is called Always Asheville. And that's going to go to giving grants to small businesses, because they say only 40% survive after a thing like this. So Asheville is determined to make that number way, way better than that, like try to save everything we can. So they created that fund, and I think it's a good thing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic to have. And everyone, that link again is in the episode notes, and on that page we have for nonprofits of where we can support people. And again, it's Asheville, it's Western North Carolina, all those little towns. We're looking at, Damascus, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia. We've seen it. We were in Savannah recently, and we saw what the neighborhoods, and especially in the southern portion, went through. Valdosta in Georgia, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but the Big Bend region of Florida, this was one of the hardest things for them. So we really need to do all we can and stay together and keep this in the news, in the forefront. Okay. Yep. That's the most important thing too. If you can do that and just share things like this, that helps. If that's what you can afford and what you can have time to do, please do it. Thank you all so much. Jay, you want to tell everybody your website so they can keep up with you?
It's SpartanPhotography.com.
Okay. He's a Spartan. That's right. And everyone, for the Lion and the Rose, go to lion-rose.com, and you can go online and do gift certificates. Just a nudge there. And everyone, thank you for joining us here. We'll be back next week and keep this podcast going so you can, stay informed of what's opening, when's the water back on, all those things. And we'll start getting some of Steve and Karen's friends on the show, just like Jay, to talk about how they're doing with their business. And so we can just keep this going. So to keep the support going. As we close up here, we're going to have some messages from musicians like Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe. We've got Daryl, I should say Sully, and Kev from the Walkabout Band. We have Pam Bedwell, a singer-songwriter who has a wonderful song called Hope Floats. And we also have a message from travel writer Joe Clark. We have Steve Schneikert recalling his Hollywood or celebrity history of Asheville, which is a really cool segment. And because we're talking about art, we have Clifford Garstang, the author, reading a passage about art. It's kind of a beautiful escape, right? From his book, The Last Bird of Paradise. And we have Lee Brovidani, who is known as the trust architect and also is a death doula. And she reads a poem from Emily Dixon about hope. So check out the link in the episode notes to our Healing After Helene event. All of these messages are from, and readings are from that event, which you can watch on YouTube. And again, that list of all these organizations you can support. Plus, we're having a list together for Spotify and YouTube for all the music you hear from that event. So thank you all so much. You guys take care and stay safe. We send you big hugs.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Asheville, North Carolina is a vibrant city with a bohemian spirit. Known for its culinary cool, panoramic vistas, and thriving artistic community, you will find yourself immersed in an unmistakable mountain vibe. From the burgeoning beer scene to an array of outdoor activities, one learns what they love most about Asheville. Despite devastating results caused by Hurricane Helene, the people of Asheville are rebuilding and restoring their feel-good success. Asheville's Celebrity Connections. Zelda Fitzgerald spent the last 12 years of her life in Asheville seeking refuge from her notorious turbulent relationship with the famous writer F. Scott Fitzgerald. Zelda was known for her free spirit and captivating beauty. An icon of the Jazz Age in the Roaring '20s, Zelda's vibrant energy seems to flow through the city to this day. You will find a little bit of Zelda anywhere music moves people, which happens all over Asheville on a nightly basis. George Vanderbilt envisioned and created America's largest home, the Biltmore House. An heir to the Vanderbilt fortune, George could have built his dream home anywhere. He chose Asheville after falling in love with the area during his travels there. George employed the talents of Richard Morris Hunt and Frederick Law Olmsted to design his ultimate home. Although the home was not yet complete, he opened his doors to friends and family on Christmas Eve in 1895. With 250 rooms, George was constantly entertaining guests with state-of-the-art accommodations on his 125,000-acre estate. Today, you can experience this architectural wonder by visiting the Biltmore. Thomas Wolfe was a famous American novelist of the early 20th century, born and raised in Asheville. His boyhood home is now the Thomas Wolfe Memorial State Historic Site, a museum that offers a glimpse into that time period. His legacy is also evident in the Thomas Wolfe Auditorium in the Harrah's Cherokee Center, which has hosted artists from Fish to Phil Lesh. Wolfe's writing was often based on his own life, containing specific references to individuals from Asheville in his day. Asheville's natural setting and interesting characters were the perfect combination to brew the kind of stories that Americans could relate to. Other celebrities associated with Asheville and nearby communities include Bellamy Young, Andy Griffith, Ava Gardner, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Harry Anderson, Steve Martin, Roberta Flack, just to name a few. Lights, camera, action. Asheville in the movies. Right on the set is not a phrase you think you would hear while admiring the serene beauty of the peaks in western North Carolina. But many Hollywood producers have found these 6,000-foot peaks provide visually spectacular backdrops for movies. Western North Carolina captured the attention of Hollywood long ago. The first movie shot in Asheville was in the 1920s. Titled Conquest of Canaan, the movie was filmed in what is now Pack Square in downtown Asheville and tells the story of a lawyer who makes good in a small town. From there, the Asheville area has starred or had cameo roles in Oscar-winning films including Forrest Gump and The Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, as well as in fan favorites like Dirty Dancing and The Hunger Games. With so many movies set in the Asheville area, the true Asheville fan can build a binge-worthy playlist that can virtually transport you to the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. Special strong positive thoughts and special mighty prayers sent to Steve and Karen Wilson, the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, their two fur babies, Ozzy and Lita, and to all others and fur babies affected by Hurricane Helene. And so happy, Lisa, that you and Nancy were also safe when Hurricane Helene hit Florida. I'm Steve Schneikert, and this is Hollywood History as I recall it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Blaze. I'm the lead guitar player and founder of the rock band Lillian Axe. And on behalf of the band, on behalf of my family and friends, I wanted to extend all of our condolences and best wishes to all of you who have been recently affected by Hurricane Helene. And as a survivor and witness to Hurricane Katrina in 2005, I can assure you that I am well aware of the devastation and horror that you guys have been through, and we feel intensely concerned. I hope that you all have found the faith and the ability to move on. Hopefully you guys have all been safe enough to not have lost family members or friends. Our condolences very intensely to those of you who have. We are praying for you. We are thinking about you constantly. And I ask that you just hang on to your faith. Things can be replaced. Lives can't. Hang in there. Do your best. We're spreading the word for people to help out as much as they possibly can. And we will continue to have you in our thoughts and prayers daily. We recently released a video for a song on our last album. The album's called From Womb to Tomb, and the song is called No Problem. I wrote this song about dealing with loss. The video shows montage of people in our families and friends, recent history that we have lost, our parents, friends, families, even some of our fans. And this video, which I wrote and dedicated to my son, it's about dealing with loss and the love that you have for your family. And in my case, my 15-year-old son, Jude, who I love dearly, is he was the catalyst for me writing this song. But it is about the love we have for each other. And so I wanted to dedicate this video and this song to all of you guys. We are praying for you. We're keeping you in our thoughts constantly. And we love you. God bless you.
And even when the darkness falls, you know I'll always hear your calls. No problem. And every night you lie in bed with melancholy in your head. No problem.
Hi, it's Lee Brovidani, and I'm known as the Trust Architect, or you might know me as the end-of-life doula, the soul journey doula person that talks with Lisa every month. I'm so sorry that you're going through this rough time right now, and I want you to know that grief is love, and it is eternal, and so grieve in your own way. One of the things for those of you who are helping people who have gone through this, you might be struggling and you might not approach them because you don't know the right thing to say. Tell them that. Tell them that you don't know what to say at this moment because what they're going through is just beyond what you could even imagine. What people need at this time to know that people haven't abandoned them. Help them by doing something for their immediate concerns. Make sure that they've got a roof over their head and food and a place to lie down. All of those practical things. And recognize that the one thing that might keep everyone going, for those of you who are going through this, and for those of you who are supporting them, is hope. I found a poem by Emily Dickinson that I wanted to read to you because to me it represents everything that we need to hold on to at this time. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in eternity it asked a crumb of me. Things will get better. Hold on to hope. And right now, my heart goes out to you, and I wish you all the best.
To everyone who is listening, I have no words that will erase this experience from your memory, nor restore your lives to the way they were before this disaster. I have prayed to my Creator that each of you be gifted with the wisdom to see the path forward, the strength to stay on that path, and the courage to persevere. Pamela Bedwell and the Pammy Cakes Ensemble dedicate to the survivors, first responders, and all of the volunteers our song, Hope Floats. My hopes lie above these waters I'm treading, in memories and in words from those who've gone before. I don't know where I'm heading. My hopes lie.
Hi, I'm Jo Clark, and I'm a travel writer. I have covered the areas that have been touched by this hurricane. I live in Myrtle Beach, so I know all too well what you're going through. In Steinhatchee, in Perry, in Cedar Key, and on up through the Blue Ridge Mountains into the wineries that I know and love, like Linville Falls, one of the few that I know who is untouched, but they chose to close because no one can get to them. There's so many things going on. There are people that are stranded on tops of mountains, and there are mule teams that are delivering food and water to these people that can't get out because their home may be fine, but the trees are blocking every pathway out of their home. So just know that we're thinking about you. I know Lisa is going to have links to all kinds of places that have been checked out, and we know they can provide assistance. So we'll be letting you know that we love you and what we can do to help you. We're there, and when you're ready to open, we're ready to come and write about you. Cheers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cliff Garstang. I live in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, and I'd like to send my best wishes for a speedy recovery to all of you who are affected by the devastation of Hurricane Helene. I'm going to read a very short passage from my new novel, The Last Bird of Paradise, which is set in Singapore. She gazed more closely at the nearest painting, not nearly so complex as Gauguin, always one of her favorites when she visited the Met, but the colors were vivid, practically throbbing, oranges and yellows and especially vibrant greens. No naked island women, but the scene was mysterious, inviting a spectral avalanche of flowers, a deep green jungle with soaring palm trees, animal faces. She thought they were tigers or monkeys, but it was hard to be sure, and a seductive blue lagoon, its surface as smooth as glass. Come drown yourself in my depths, it seemed to say. As she studied the painting, first one monkey and then another leaped from tree to tree, and a brilliantly colored parrot, red and yellow and blue, flapped noisily from one side of the painting to the other, squawking a shrill warning. A shimmering serpent, something prehistoric and sinewy, rose in the lagoon and sank again, sending ardent ripples across the surface. At the water's edge, a naked savage raised his spear, and then, when an explosion echoed across the lagoon and blood blossomed on his chest, collapsed. Smoke rose from the rifle of a uniformed soldier who had appeared on the opposite shore.
Afternoon. This is Kevin Sully from The Walkabout. We just wanted to pay our respects and our best wishes to everyone that has suffered through this horrible natural disaster, and just let you know,
we're thinking about you.
Even though you may feel that no one is thinking about you or caring about you,
we care.
Know that The Walkabout here on Long Island, New York, we definitely care about you, and I'm sure there are millions more that have you in their thoughts
and hearts,
and basically the big hearts that everybody we know have. So keep the faith, stay strong, and just keep moving forward.
Things are looking now. Things are looking now. Things are looking now. Smiles hide the catty whispers. Makes me believe it's all worthwhile. Now that I'm in this situation, don't forget the power of a smile. Things are looking now.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show. Learn more about the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, which is located in the historic Montford district of Asheville, North Carolina. Go to lion-rose.com. You can keep up with our Big Blend radio shows at bigblendradio.com.